can drop the African, keep the American. When we say Aborigine, it make their world end.
Tap in, tap in, tap in. Welcome. Pull up. You know what it is, man. The Autonomous Party Podcast and Mix Show. Super Blaze inside the campaign mix, man. Let's get it.
Who they think they better than? Ain't no comparison to the so-called black or African American. You can drop the African, keep the American. When we say Aborigine, it make their world end. I'm going in the same dirt my ancestors buried in. I come from a god and a goddess, so what that make me? Not even Basquiat can trace me. Not even Van Gogh can paint me. The MC in me is the God MC. Equals the God in me. I'm focused in, let my mind be free. You too blind to see. The Jews I give Israel, it's been real. These ain't shots, they missiles. All you gonna hear is the whistle. Lyrically, this an execution. My verses start revolutions. For my people seeking restitution. Since the beginning, fuck evolution. Or maybe my reality is all a dream. I put it together like I was so it seems. This is that audio dopamine. Go against the machine. We put you where nobody can hear you scream. And sing you to meet your Elohim. My nigga, this is savage mode. It's something that you can't decode. It started with a spark and I'ma let it explode. I was given the cheat codes that'll let me dump and reload. And go through them waves like a fucking torpedo. You dealt the cards of life. I just cut them diamonds with the ace of spades. Y'all scatter like roaches when they facing raid. Or vampires when they facing blade. I'm trying to get next to terrain like I'm getting played. You still stuck as a mental slave. You still stuck in that mental cage. While I'm making easy money, pimping hoes in style. This my coming to age. Crowd roar when I'm coming on stage. And when I'm done, they gonna be...
One more time from the top, Dre Cobbs music, man. Go ahead and cop that on every platform out there. You know what I mean? This one is called We Still Here. Just shout to my Aboriginals out there. You know what it is, man. Let's get it real quick.
Who they think they better than? Ain't no comparison to the so-called black or African American. You can drop the African, keep the American. When we say Aborigine, it make their world end. I'm going in the same dirt my ancestors buried in. I come from a god and a goddess, so what that make me? Not even Basquiat can trace me. Not even Van Gogh can paint me. The MC in me is the God MC. Equals the God in me. I'm focused in, let my mind be free. You too blind to see. The Jews I give Israel, it's been real. These ain't shots, they missiles. All you gonna hear is the whistle. Lyrically, this an execution. My verses start revolutions. For my people seeking restitution. Since the beginning, fuck evolution. Or maybe my reality is all a dream. I put it together like I was so it seems. This is that audio dopamine. Go against the machine. We put you where nobody can hear you scream. And sing you to meet your Elohim. My nigga, this is savage mode. It's something that you can't decode. It started with a spark and I'ma let it explode. I was given the cheat codes that'll let me dump and reload. And go through them waves like a fucking torpedo. You dealt the cards of life. I just cut them diamonds with the ace of spades. Y'all scatter like roaches when they facing raid. Or vampires when they facing blade. I'm trying to get next to terrain like I'm getting played. You still stuck as a mental.
Shout to Monte. What up, Raw Trucking?
While I'm making easy money, pimping hoes.
Don't forget, man, check out Monte
I'm coming to age. Crowd roar
on TikTok.
on stage. And when I'm done, they're gonna be cheering my name.
That's Autonomous Party TikTok page, you know what I mean?
Quit my day job, I spit bars. I really rap on my day
All
off.
my TikTokers out there, you know what it is.
Tools you can build with. Aim high even if you still miss.
Shout to OP me, what up?
It's a climb to the top, and I'ma keep flowing. Down Lake Shore, I'm Chicagoan. Yeah.
Yeah, man. Dre Cobbs was up here a few weeks ago, man. You know what I mean? With that tight interview about this dope music. You know what I mean? Shout out to my people out there doing this kind of music, man. This indigenous music, this aboriginal music, this real Indian music. Let's get it, man.
This shit hit hard like Spence on a speed bag. I blow his legs off, he gon' need a knee tag. You niggas sound worse than Eminem on relapse. And Burna Boy, he's trash. You thought I was gonna let you ease past? Running your mouth while taking our culture. Treat this nigga like brisket and slow roast him. Roll up an Akon pack. I ain't ducking smoke, I just didn't blow. I'm on demon time and I got a hellish flow. Before he's spiritual, I make up see the Holy Ghost. Let's bury these niggas and raise a toast to the Aborigines. That's from time immemorial. A time China's from the soil. Every rhyme is that cook coke, that hard hard boil. My energy is unattainable. And for you $5 Indians, I might have to flame a few. Run up on the res, you know I'm blazing through. Turn your gang into turtle soup. I aim for the head when I shoot. I take your top off like you do the coop. I took a drink from the fountain of truth. Now these bars, it's the burden of proof. They say the pen is mightier than the sword, so you gon' have to acknowledge the God. Drake Cobbs, I take your face off. My style is like cocaine raw. You gon' have to bow down to my Jaguar paw, or I'm coming like Leatherface with the chainsaw. I ride for my road dog like a new age outlaw. I do it to death like Chief Cornstalk. So fuck all your tough talk. You little pigeons can't fly with hawks. Better get you outlined and chalk. Is the supreme being here to electrify your chakra? Any drama is mask on like the Phantom of the Opera. I got the hunger, and you niggas looking like pasta. Shrimp over the lobster, and I'm smoking like a roster. Check my posture. It's only one American, the rest of y'all imposters. Cause you don't want Dre to pop up, cause it's like boys in the hood. I'm out the window with the shoddy, nigga. When it comes to the mic, I'm like the coroner. All I catch is bodies, nigga. This shit hit hard like Spence on the speed bag. This shit hit hard like Spence on the speed bag. This shit hit hard like Spence on the speed bag. I blow his legs off, he gon' need a knee tag. You niggas sound worse than Eminem on relapse, and Burna Boy, he's trash. You thought I was gonna let you ease past? Running your mouth while taking our culture. Treat this nigga like brisket and slow roast him. Roll up the Akon pack. I ain't ducking smoke, I just did hell and blow. I'm on demon time and I got a hellish flow. Before he's spiritual, I make him see the Holy Ghost. Let's bury these niggas and raise a toast to the Aborigines. That's from time immemorial. A Tachan is from the soil. Every rhyme is that cook coke, that hard boil. My energy is unattainable. And for you $5 Indians, I might have to flame a few. Run up on the res, you know I'm blazing through. Turn your gang into turtle soup. I aim for the head when I shoot. I take your top off like you do the coop. I took a drink from the fountain of truth. Now these bars, it's the burden of proof. They say the pen is mightier than the sword, so you gon' have to acknowledge the God. Drake Cobbs, I take your face off. My style is like cocaine raw. You gon' have to bow down to my Jaguar paw, or I'm coming like Leatherface with the chainsaw. I ride for my road dog like a new age outlaw. I do it to death like Chief Cornstalk. So fuck all your tough talk. You little pigeons can't fly with hawks. Better get you outlined and chalk. Is the supreme being here to electrify your chakra? Any drama is mask on like the Phantom of the Opera. I got the hunger, and you niggas like pasta. Trip over the lobster, and I'm like a roster. Check my posture. It's only one American, the rest of y'all imposters. Cause you don't want Dre to pop up, cause it's like boys in the hood. I'm out the window with the shoddy, nigga. When it comes to the mic, I'm like the coroner. All I catch is bodies, niggas. So look away before you come in my lane. It's a race up, I just get it and aim.
You know, everything is vintage. Everything's classic. Cause ain't nothing new under the sun. I mean, it's been done before, but not like this though. Yeah, the guy flows giving with such precision. Flow like a man, that's what keep me driven. Roof partition, scribing to the cosmo, omnipotent vision. I'm everywhere, tell me what I'm really missing. Traveling man, journey past fifth dimension. P now too wide open to see religion. Resonating way too loud for me to listen. Is you listening? Merc Kush jumping out the gym like Blake Griffin. Have your mind somewhere in the ethers missing. I cook food for thought and they proceed to listen. Cause my flow's nourishment and my words are living. See my tongue way stronger than that gun you gripping. Cause a big bang like the birth of earth was given. I get missing through the instruments and melody. I don't make music, I compose sound therapy. I think I'm Nick Tesla, Bob Marley, master of ceremony, nigga, I'm God body.
Everybody seen that Bob Marley movie yet?
And I'm calling back. Osiris Green, Mosra Beads got them knocks staring. I think I'm Jeff Fort, Noah Drew. Painting pictures with these words, man, it's what I do. Shouts out the Thriller campaign, nigga, what it do? Keeping everything kosher, no Jew. How I ride on the day that Noah would die. I'm a rule that we supposed to ride. How I ride on the day that Malcolm died. By any means, I'm living my life. Hey, since an adolescent, been getting it right. Cause the people who were pressing ain't caring for life. Had to make my own way from nickel and dime. Till the nigga graduated and got me a pine. Where I'm from, man, them boys ain't playing around. Hopping out ski mask, they laying it down. Just because you match your description. Even though we all know it's fiction. All they really want to do is convict them. Forge his name or make up a victim. When it's feeling like the world is against them. It's all good, nigga, galaxy with them. It's all good, good, galaxy with them. It's all good, nigga, my yacht with them. Hey. Shouts out to my ancestors. Oh, wow. No wonder why you don't get this. No, you ain't cross your T's and you ain't dot your I's. We got some unfinished business. Bang, bang, nigga.
Yeah, you listening to Super Plays. Let's
One more time, Mike Ether, Black Fez. Let's get it, come on.
No wonder why you don't get this. No, you ain't cross your T's and you ain't dot your I's. We got some unfinished business. Nigga. No wonder why you don't get this. No, you ain't cross your T's and you ain't dot your I's. We got some unfinished business. Nigga. Now come and take a look at my perspective. School of hard knocks and struggle, it was my elective. Shit was reckless, so I had to always cock the heckler. Put under pressure, so that's why the shells would get projected. My mind protected, I stay focused, boy, if you ain't noticed. When it come to my thoughts, I'm an S63, you just a Lotus. Your brain small and compacted, that's why you contracted to a big-ass record label where the pay's lacking. But you ain't know that, too late to go back. I'm at the end of Roy G. Biv, where to go at? I paint the picture, you can keep the Kodak. My cherry hit a waste, I think it's time for me to go back. Back to the realm, filled it with supreme beings. Trying to build my mind to see what the Almighty's seeing. Dark should come to light, so ain't no way that you can play us. I'm turning in my black fez for the erase. Nigga. No wonder why you don't get this. No, you ain't cross your T's and you ain't got your I's. We got some unfinished business. No wonder why you don't get this. No, you ain't cross your T's and you ain't got your I's. We got some unfinished business.
They try so hard to keep it blind, but thank God I can see the light. Wanna keep me in the dark, but now you can see me shining bright.
Yeah, you listening to Super Plays. Let's go.
DJ Super Plays.
Yeah, rhyme so dope, my eyes low. When you I'm slow. I came back for the blacks and John Doe's. Crack open them land pads, let go of them townhomes. What's a native to a native? He $5 dough if he not melanated. Pale faces got you waiting on the savior. Sending prayers up, he texting back on vacation. Yeah, God's children. Give all your praise to Jesus, but how God feeling? He say put no one before him in divine image. It's you with God and Christians. I got a vision, but niggas ain't gotta listen, so they don't. We came from the soil, wasn't fucking with no boats. Bible took our spirit, English potted on our homes. Tribal families turn on us, don't act like y'all don't know. But fuck them and they grudges. We was something turned to nothing. And now we let this turn to something. Reincarnation of angels fresh up out the oven. This the message to the black man. This the message to the black man. This the message to the black man.
Hey man, all I'm saying is, nigga, you always got something to say. It's like you don't shut up.
DJ Super Blaze.
A lot of niggas died 1865. Single Michael fled, how am I gonna let it ride? Everybody hot and black was never on your side. They do maps to tell your apps where you sleep at night. They put that white man on. Got you begging them for answers like that white man know. Had you swearing you was African, that's that white man home. Had you proud to be a savage, that's that white man's zone. And I ain't talking shit, this my definition. If being savage was our nation, y'all be non-existent. We done took your ass out when we was in them kitchens. Instead of showing you how to live and how to maintain business. White supremacy fake. Only way that shit real is if you do what they say. We the God to the gate. So when they say they fear God, now you know what they made. Shoot song, move song, shoot song, move song.
Put us in the same room, he gon' go down. Hit a nigga with that boom, he gon' go down.
Shoot song, move song, shoot song, move song.
Put us in the same room, he gon' go down. Hit a nigga with that boom, he gon' go down.
Jack, back in the saddle. I'm here. Moving at the speed of light, headed in the battle. Running through the dark in the night now. We gon' spread our wings and take flight now. You gotta let it rain out to bring the rain down, to bring the flames down. This is the change now. Dance in the rain right now. Ain't no games right now. Dance in the flames right now. There ain't no pain right now. I had fire. Jack, back in the saddle. I'm here, moving at the speed of light, headed in the battle. Running through the dark in the night now. We gon' spread our wings to take flight now. You gotta let it rain out, to bring the rain down, to bring the flames down. This is the change now. Dance in the rain right now, ain't no games right now. Dance in the flames right now, there ain't no pain right now. I had enough, I got a strange feeling. I got a new healing, feel like a new human. So lost in the world out there. You need the same feelings. You need the new healing. Become a new human. They say we strange. It's blood that's in our veins. Heaven's on the way. And love's the only way. Yeah, we going up. I got a strange feeling. I got a new healing. Feel like a new human.
Tap in.
All things good. Let all the good times go.
Where is it? Hey.
Let all things go. We came to rock and roll. Brand new side with a brand new vision. We all gotta win now. My heart is all in now, committed. Brand new life with brand new living. Yeah. Get in the kid now, singing in the wind now. We gotta let it rain out, to bring the rain down, to bring the flame down. This is the change now. Dance in the rain right now. Ain't no games right now. Dance in the flames right now. There ain't no pain right now.
Hold up. Heard it. Damn. Oh. Fire. Shots fired, you heard me? Yeah. Shout out to Blaze campaign mix each and every Sunday, 8 to 9 o'clock. You got to tap in early. Go to the website, www.theautonomousparty.com, and obviously musicmedialounge.com, Mixcloud, you know what I'm saying? Them places, you know, we get busy before we get into this conversation and podcast and all the stuff we got going on from 9 to 11. So we appreciate y'all tapping in. It's your boy, Mac Gaither, through the campaign. The harsh reality is live life autonomously. Maroonville. Shout out to the social club. You already know what it is. You know what I'm saying? Shout out to the ministry. Shout out to everybody that's playing their part with the party. That's the Luciano Macario, you heard me? Yeah, so at the same time, we got a couple joints we want to, you know, get you to. And shout out to God of Green. Shout out to again Blaze, Baron P, Firebird, Monte, Opie, Tecumseh, Maroon J, Nine Ether, you know what I'm saying, and all the other folk that been messing with us, you know what I mean, and pulling up special guests, etc. Over the last few months, we've been getting, you know what I mean, good feedback and all the stuff we putting out there. Hope y'all liking it, you know what I'm saying? God, you ready? You want to slide and get straight to it? Tap in with us, be right back. No, my bad. We had a little technical difficulty there. My bad. Hold on 1 second. For some reason, it didn't cross over. It didn't tap in. I don't know. We told you to tap in. Hold on, it didn't tap in. We live though, bitch. So I can't do nothing about it. It's what it is. You already know what it is. So things like that happen. We're gonna try this again. Is it glitching? I don't know. Matter of fact, well, okay. No. Did you cross it over? It's not crossing over, dog. Hey, man, give me the Maroon J live while we see how we fix this technical thing, man. Hold on for a second, y'all. Hold on with me. Yeah, but on my side, is anybody seeing the video and not seeing me right now? Or is it just me? There it is.
Pardon my autonomy. I know one day they'll honor me. This ain't pertaining to 28 Deuteronomy. Self-determination, controlling our situation.
We had to get it right. Maroon J. Appreciate y'all patience, PIV.
This could take quite a bit of time.
Tap in.
Pardon my autonomy. I know one day they'll honor me. This ain't pertaining to 28 Deuteronomy. Self-determination, controlling our situation. Ain't no more indoctrination from pale faces. How the fuck you bummy and broke but a pale racist? My lineage free people of color with a left make each nigga. This right here maroon, now it ain't burgundy. If you plotting murder, I'm certain that you'll need surgery. Hurt from when the burner squeeze. Protecting tribe business. Only consulting with governments, tribe to tribe with it. Please don't confuse us with those considered native. Semi-autonomy never was in our nature. Just address me as Esther Lucy. Wild Indian status and Cherokees riding Ruchis. In my war bonnet, if you want it, bring it to your region. And black forces the same color the European. Pardon my autonomy. I know one day they'll honor me. This ain't pertaining to 28 Deuteronomy. Self-determination, controlling our situation. Ain't no more indoctrination from pale faces.
Aborigines, which means what? Black folks. But you never find a white aborigine. Aborigines are called natives, or they're always dark-skinned people. You and I are aborigines.
Yeah, you and I are aborigines. You don't like to be called aborigines. Like for them, like to be called mulattoes or moolies and mulettos. No, them different terms. Trying to make sure we got our clips right. You know what I'm saying? So, like I said, bear with us. This is the podcast vibe. And shout out to everybody in the chat. You know what I'm saying? Again, we're going to play these clips. We're going to bring our guest up for the panel discussion. We want to make sure these things get in. You know, we all kind of have context. That's not it. Yeah, but shout out to Opie Miha, you know what I'm saying? They just dropped a new joint. We're going to be playing a couple of joints from him tonight in a discussion of what we've been talking about. And people spreading misinformation, the Indian and the Negro. In the face of reparations, we're going to go into that first. You know what I'm saying? The face of reparations and just some information to kind of tie some other things that are, you know, and misinformation. I know Chito Pa definitely has some things to say about some misinformation. I think it's acting crazy tonight, ain't it? There it is. Oh, yeah, it's glitching on you. Go ahead, though. Shout out to Opie. Check out this joint right here. Discovering our indigenous roots. Play a quick little clip for y'all. Tap into the channel and watch the whole thing, obviously. That's all you got.
I wanted to cover a topic that I see that's continuing to surface, and it is all of the people who look like us that are coming to see that we have indigenous ancestry. We're still getting a pushback that we're actually Africans. So what I wanted to do today is kind of go through so I'm on Family Search, and what I want to do is go through the actual census records so we can see approximately when Africans would have gotten here. So I wanted to
again, Africans getting here. I'm telling you, he did a very big bill to showing through documentation. You know, people do genealogy. If you're searching, you're looking to find, especially in a certain time frame. It was around the 1800s that you're looking to find things that you can go back and find, like he's showing when you go and check that out. You know what I'm saying? Researching your roots. Shout out to Opie Mihai. We can slide to the next one, oh God. Again, our slide thing situation, they updated something, so we got to kind of upload every joint now like this. That's, it's not his fault. You know what I'm saying? But hey, like I say, just bear with us. I'm ready. Making his job a little more harder. You know what I'm talking about? Shout out to God of Green.
Says whites in the area took over the remaining properties. She says Oscarville farmers were specifically skilled in raising poultry, which set the pace for Gainesville eventually becoming poultry capital of the world.
You have a farm already going, and you had free land, so you just take it.
Rucker says his great-grandfather married his second wife, Beulah, and they built this school that still stands in Gainesville today. By the late 1950s, the Beaufort Dam was built and Lake Lanier was formed, covering up Oscarville and swallowing most of its history. Many believe Lake Lanier is haunted because of the high number of drownings. We spoke to officials who tell us because there is an entire town that includes structures and even forest areas with trees that are 60 feet tall, it makes it more difficult to navigate through, and someone can easily become trapped in debris, leading them to drowning. We have so much more on this story on our. Crosby says.
That was a clip from Monte. He be doing the news 3 times a week. He dropping that work. You know what I mean? Shout out to Monte, giving you all the updates and certain things you might not hear about. You know what I'm saying? He also got that hip hop Historia joint popping off. So definitely tap into the channel for that as well. You know what I'm saying? The news recently is campaign 24. So we're definitely tuning in and tapping in for all levels on the spectrum of things. You're tap in with us. I think we got Tecumseh. You know what I mean? Got a lot of joint. Shout out to TikTok, you know what I'm saying? And Twitter, X. You heard me? All the feedback we've been getting over there too. Shout out to y'all supporting and tapping in. Go ahead, guys. It's on you.
Americas happened centuries before the arrival of Columbus. These Armorican tribes originally sailed to the west coast of South America, migrated north, and established colonies all throughout the Americas. This is where all the different appellations of the name America likely come from the Amarisque mountain ranges of Nicaragua to the Amacaris tribes of the Atlantic coast, to the Ladino Chichimeca that have been both culturally and genetically tied to the Armorium, which are crypto-Jews. Contact with the
Did contact happen? Well, there's a lot of people saying that it happened. I mean, it happened, this book right here. You feel me? This book right here. Are these people going into West Africa from out of Babylon, Egypt, you know what I'm saying? East of the Nile. However, we got one more joint, and after that, matter of fact, we got 2 more joints, right? Right on time, though. Go ahead, guys. We're going to, funny enough, yeah, Kanye, right? Kanye said something. I know people were going crazy. They didn't watch the interview. Whenever he does something, people go crazy, however. But I have to give him a shout out because the man was real calm in his joint. And his album, you know what I mean, the Vulture series, the trilogy, excuse me, it's going to be, I think it's going to make a wave of independence and autonomy. That's why I got to give him a shout out because he's moving autonomous. You know what I'm saying? He said even the next album part of this situation will be going strictly from his website because how much he went through just to put out the Vultures 1. You know what I mean? So you got to know how to move in a room full of vultures. That's why I think you put it like that. But let's check this clip out right here from Kanye and Ty Dolla's interview with Big Boy. Check it out.
Simplify the contracts. Them contracts is in, and we don't really know who we are. We so separated. You know, Ty Dolla got Indian in his family. My grandmother's named Chick. She was half Indian. But when was the last time you heard of that? Oh, was that politically incorrect to say? I got Indian. I can say Indian. I'm a black person. I could say nigga. So all of that. When you remove all that information, you remove the fathers, every father, the grandfather, your father, and the father of the current child, the baby daddy. You remove all them fathers. And then they remove God. They remove Jesus too. And they'll give us Kwanzaa and no contract study, nothing financial, none of that. Even one of my favorite ones that Deion Sanders like pointed out, it's like all the people that's recruited to the athlete, you know this story, right? If they got a father, they don't even look at them. They're going hands off. It has to be only the mother.
The story, the hardship.
Only mother, because that recruit is more. And the thing in general, women are protectors. So a man will go out to war and give his life for a vision. Sit there like rapping, like whoop that trick, you know what I'm saying, for a vision of something.
Good. Yeah, I think it's, you got to put that in there. But then I think that it's interesting that he's talking autonomously in that joint. If you don't get anything from it, he's definitely come to a place. I think he's, financially understanding certain things, contractually understanding certain things, and moving in a certain way, and standing on his business. You hear me? Yeezy. Shout out to him though. You know what I mean? And we can slide. You know what I'm saying? I just want to give him that autonomous shout out for that. I think it's the time. No. Actually, no. We can pull up our guest though. We can get into the panel. You know what I'm saying? Whoever pulled up so far. What up, Pop?
Wow, what's happening, baby?
What they do?
You already know, man. Peace to the panel, peace to the DJ. That's my DJ.
Blaze. You know what I'm saying? Hey, I see. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, Blaze. I see. Is that 9 to the left with the 9? What you
That's
got
Stewie.
going on with the?
That's
Stewie.
Stewie.
Got Stewie.
Hello,
That's
homie.
Stewie.
My little homie Stewie. He want to sit in. He said he want to sit in.
He want his face on the screen. Yeah.
Yeah. He said, "Yo, put me on this joint."
Yeah.
Good,
Shout out
Cheetah?
to y'all. What's poppin',
Cheetah
y'all?
Pa and my brother Mac Ether.
What's happening?
In the background and Super Blaze Autonomous Party. What's good?
Nothing much.
Hey, and I'm Pa, because I know you sent me some stuff. So we're gonna do the misinformation part of the topics towards the end, so we can really go in with all the sources and stuff in alignment. All right. But as last time with the panel discussion, Maroonville, we want to deal with first for some information that we've come across recently, and it's tied to a lot of things. Aptly inside of this conversation, historically, from the past to some current situations, and there's a timeline dealing with it. And I wanted y'all to be here to kind of, tell me what y'all think about what we got with this. So the face of reparations. We've talked about this guy before, and matter of fact, a couple weeks ago, shout out to Lee Cummins when he was on the show, even though he got cut off. You know what I mean? And we haven't been able to schedule to make that happen again yet. But at the end of the day, I brought up a dude named Olaudah Equiano. Are you familiar with him, Pa? Olaudah Equiano? Okay, cool. No pressure. So I'm gonna give you some background on it. That's how we do it over here.
For sure.
So since you don't know who he is, this is the funny part. The funny part about it is that Olaudah Equiano is the face of reparations when they went to California and said that all black folk come from a slave narrative, and this is the person they presented as the face of reparations. You know what I'm saying? So there's some things about him and things that he says about himself and people that he's connected with that I found very interesting in the first place, being that he's the face. So we want to share that with the folk. And I know you know who Olaudah Equiano is. You know what I'm saying? I know you know who he is.
Facts.
You know what I mean? We go pull up the first source real quick though, just so everybody that doesn't know, you know what I mean? We're gonna make sure you get a little information about the face of reparations when the California went and did what they did. I don't know if
Let me
they
let me
carried
ask
them
you:
over the state to state.
is
Go ahead.
is that dealing with the situation when the family supposedly got their land back? Is he
Nope.
dealing with that?
Mm-mm.
Okay.
Nope.
All right. All right.
He's put like this. He's the face of the Atlantic slave trade, dealing
Okay.
with reparations. You know what I'm saying? To be more
Okay.
clear. You know what I mean? As far as people
Okay.
not knowing, like that's who they presented to be the face dealing with the slave trade narrative. And he wrote a book. He has a narrative. Put it up, God. Um, and he has a whole story. That's why I think they used him as the face because of his story. But then I never really seen them really, I guess, present what his story is connected to in certain ways. So that's why we brought up certain things about him and connected to him. So I wanted to make sure people know that we ain't tripping and it documented the American South. It says the interesting narrative of the life of Olaudah Equiano or Gustavus Vasa, the African, written by himself, volume 1. You know what I'm saying? And it lets you know the time frame, 1745, right? Now we're gonna come on down though and give you that word real quick. Just let you know it's all, I want to find a real good source so you can see. Matter of fact, go back up, God. Show them that part right there where it shows the middle part right there. See right there? All right, see the subjects and headings is the African description and the travel, early works to 1800, African Americans, biography, Black biography, Equiano, Olaudah, births. It says 1745, slave trade, Africa, slavery, history, 18th century, slaves, Great Britain, biography, slaves, United States, biography, and slave writing. So these are all things tied to around this man. Keep going down though, guys. Want to make sure people, see these things. You know what I mean, real quick. Now this is a bad picture of him. It's really dark. You know what I'm saying? I know it's not, we can show you a picture of him. That's not an issue. So I just want people to know whoever did this, sent this, how they scan these things in, right? So people can see this is now. Look where it's located at. Wait, stop right there, God. See how I say London?
Uh-huh.
Now he's in London when he's writing the book. He's not in America. He's not in Africa. All right. We've mentioned it before. He's one of the two men tied to the Sons of Africa, which is the oldest Black abolitionist organization out of London dealing with slavery. All right. And all that good stuff and some things we're going to bring up too. But first, I just want to make sure y'all see these things. You can keep scrolling, guys. We ain't going to read the whole thing. I just want to make sure people know this is the face that they in his London, this is printed and all that right there. Give you the chapters and all that stuff that he's dealing with. I mean, this is the narrative. Now you can go to the next one, God. I really wanted to just make sure you people see that was this man wrote a book and other publishings out of London, Olaudah Equiano, Gustavus Vasa. Does that sound like a what kind of name does that sound like to you, Pa? Gustavus Vasa, when you hear that name?
It sounds like it could be somewhat Castile.
Yeah. It got some Sephardic stuff going on with it, don't it? Sound like
Yeah.
Yeah. It's part Swedish.
Interesting.
Sweden.
A Swedish king. He was named after a Swedish king. Okay, interesting. All right, so we just want to make sure people know that about him. We're gonna pull up the next joint real quick about this. But this is the face of reparations part. So I want anything you got to say about this now, because I know Pa, you don't know about this man that much. So if there's anything you have questions about him or anything, Pa, when we go to the next joint, because this one I'm gonna be able to read a little more into some things. But anything you want to say about this so far before we go in?
Read into them so they could get a little context.
All right, better picture. Yeah, this is a better picture of him. All right, so everybody can see. This is the picture that it was bad on the book that they scanned into that one joint. Feel me? So now, in matter of fact, you want to give them the Wikipedia real quick? Boom. So anybody that doesn't know again, Olaudah Equiano, 1745 to 1797, known most of his life as Gustavus Vasa.
All right. Yeah.
Okay.
Oh boy, right here.
Yeah.
Yeah, I saw his picture before. Yeah.
Okay. Cool. See,
I saw the
you want to
bottom.
make sure.
I saw the bottom right one. Yeah.
Okay. So now, you notice it's going to say Sons of Africa. Matter of fact, I want you to hit on that too. But this is so everybody can know. For the Swedish king, see Gustavus Vasa, but then obviously it comes back to him. When it says, obviously, according to his memoir, he was from the village of Esaka in modern southern Nigeria, enslaved as a child in West Africa. He was shipped to the Caribbean and sold to a Royal Navy officer. He was sold twice more before purchasing his freedom in 1766. You see what I'm saying? Now, underneath it says, as a freedman in London, Equiano supported the British abolitionist movement in the 1780s, becoming one of its leading figures. Equiano was part of the abolition group, the Sons of Africa. So that's, just to make sure, that's why I think he's the face. You want to give him the Sons of Africa real quick? So some people know, because they might not know. This is the oldest organization over there. Real quick, so everybody don't know. Sons of Africa, late 18th century group in Britain that campaigned to end African chattel slavery. The corresponding society has been called the Britain's first black political organization. Its members were educated Africans in London, including formerly enslaved men such as Olaudah Equiano and Olaudah Equiano, and other leading members of London's black community. You know what I'm saying? So, funny enough, we can keep it moving, guys. I think that, this guy right here is why he has an extensive background, and I guess off his storyline of him saying that he was enslaved. But you know what, God, we had said this earlier this week when we were talking about this man. Isn't there some records showing him about him being born in Carolina?
Yeah, historian Vincent Coretta, he basically was tracing this dude and found out his baptismal records say that he was born in South Carolina, and two different muster roll records, one from 1773 and one from a little later, have him coming out of South Carolina. So there's a dispute on his actual background, if he's a slave from Africa. But the United States records show, 3 records show South Carolina. But his so-called biography, his own account, he was snatched when he was 11 years old from Benin, Africa. And, they like to give a good backdrop. So there's a lot of people just challenging his own account or the account they put out about this dude.
Right. That is definitely an issue at hand about that when people are doing research, that do the research about who they made the face of reparations and stuff like that too, trying to represent everybody dealing with a slave trade situation, right? So look, this is something that's also interesting about Equiano and his world and his narratives, that he was connected with a man. You know what I'm saying? He was connected to a man that I think people should know that he was in contact with, face of reparations. I just think people need to know this. You know what I'm saying? You can go down to it, guy. Dealing with this is about his birth, right? The birth and everything right here. But isn't this the one that got Bloom? It's the same one, right? I want the Bloom part. The Bloom, what's the buddy name?
So, question on the baptismal record. How old was he on the baptismal record?
Go ahead, now.
He was about 18 in the baptismal record. They got him being born as 1745, 55, 65. So he was about 22 because they got the baptismal records in about when he was 20, 22 years old. And then they have a muster rolls records of 1773 that mimicking that he's from South Carolina. I think he's from South Carolina, and they're just using him as a good Negro that started to write great papers and traveled to Britain and England and became the face of this so-called abolition thing, because he's also tied with Granville Sharp, who is basically the founder of Freetown, Liberia, Sierra Leone. And that Sons of Africa was created the same year that they were doing their first moves, that they really went out there in 1787, 30, 40 years before American Colonization Society. So the first town out there was Kleintown, supposedly named after African, but it took his name from Granville Sharp, who the town is named after to this day. It's called Granville, Freetown. So I think what I got with him is they propping up this abolisher, but it's really removing indigenous people from America to Africa. It's the prelude to the Great Migration, supposedly back to Africa, using Equiano.
That part. That part.
Yeah, because it did. Because after that, they did took some Aboriginal people over there to Sierra Leone, which is which actually became a colony of the United States, dealing with Liberia.
Facts.
And the questioning, as it says here on the joint about him. See, as we just read about his little background on him, what he says, and all that kind of stuff, and disputes and stuff. But this one thing that you cannot put into question is who he is affiliated with, dealing with the sons of Africa and certain things at this time frame. You know what I mean? And is this the part right here, God? Huh? Okay. Shall I read this whole thing? All right. Bet. It says numerous questions have arisen in terms of what Gustavus Vasa knew, what he did, and what he thought. This section includes a discussion of where Vasa was born, the significance of his name, Igbo scarification, and body markings, slavery and trade in Igbo land. It says Vasa's views of slavery and his attitudes toward race and culture. There's also discussion of Vasa's relations with scientists and industrialists, the revolution. He recognized and unrecognized involvement in the abolitionist movement and his connections with the Mosquito Shore of Central America and with Sierra Leone. Finally, there are discussions of Vasa's relationship with German anthropologist Johann Friedrich Blumenbach and Vasa's legacy today. Now, that person right there, German anthropologist Blumenbach, this guy right here,
Yeah.
I always mess his name up. Blumenbach. You know what I'm saying? This is the guy that's behind the race theory today of all black people being from Africa. You see who he is? That's who him and Equiano is tied. You know, they rocking with each other. And it says this guy, obviously, Johann Friedrich Blumenbach, was a pivotal figure in the early development of what is now called physical anthropology, specifically through his research relating to human biodiversity, commonly known as race. Born into a family of academics, Blumenbach received his medical degree from the Göttingen University and was appointed as the curator of its Natural History Museum. A leading Enlightenment era biological theorist, praised by Immanuel Kant, Blumenbach accumulated natural science specimens shipped to him from throughout the world. He was also the first Western scholar to describe the platypus. When he died at the age of 88, Blumenbach was internationally venerated for educating a generation of scholars, including the celebrated Alexander von Humboldt. This guy's tied to the race theory of where origins of everybody's supposed to be from. You know what I'm saying? And the sons of Africa are tied into this man at this time. You know what I mean? Getting designations. You know what I mean? It's funny, it just happens to be in the same timeline that these two men know each other and what one of them is known for and what the other was known for. Like,
Go back to Africa. Equiano, he's part of that back to Africa. Like you said, this dude, he's part of the race theory. They're creating this whole narrative of this person is African, this phenotype is this. And then you got Equiano being the face of that movement, supposedly free people of color at that time. But I could definitely see the game.
Word. And it's another part where it says also in 1790, Blumenbach discussed Vasa in his book. And it says Betrage zur Naturalistik. I know I messed that up. Blumenbach described Vasa and the ex-slave author Ignatius Sancho as two distinguished Negroes who had become famous as writers in England. And then it says that Voiture Neger in England, and then Blumenbach noted that unlike Sancho, Vasa's writings had more seriousness, almost bordering on gloominess. And then it says Blumenbach then went on to quote two large passages from Vasa's book. Vasa's story to trying to convert a Mosquito tribal elder to Christianity, and Vasa's recollection of naval battle in which he had to quickly pour water on gunpowder which had spilled on the floor of the ship during active combat. Blumenbach presented these examples of Vasa's piety and quick-witted courage under the fire as proof that Negroes had just as much mental ability and religious zeal as many of their white brothers. Yeah.
Because if I'm not mistaken, wasn't one of the Germans was dealing with chronology and everything, dealing with the cranium when he said that the Negro was inferior because of the way how his skull was shaped.
Yeah, that's what they were saying, right? Ain't that so
Yeah,
true?
yeah.
Yeah, that's interesting. That's
What's
what I'm
happening,
saying
Wonderful
about.
Stone? What's up, cousin Lashonda? What's happening, y'all? Thank y'all for joining.
But
Yeah.
but that's what that is, though. You know what I mean? And that right there is what people need to understand, that politically, today, dealing with reparations, right? That's the face. And you know what's funny about Vasa, and I said it, you know what I mean? 'Cause, I had Lee Cummins on here, and particularly I asked Lee, that this man in his journal, in his memoirs, said that the people out of West Africa were Judaic, Hebraic. You know what I'm saying?
hmm
And that's what he is
hmm
saying, that the people that went into the slave trade were the people in West Africa were the ones of Hebraic background, dealing with inquisitions and stuff of things. That was some things he also put in. Now, am I tripping? I think that's pretty much. But you can pull up the next short stuff.
No, you on point.
So I ain't want nobody to think I'm capping, you know what I mean? But just as we get to this real quick, just showing you one more source, right? I think we done with the reparations face guy, you know what I'm saying? Different. How did the slave trade end in Britain? So just let y'all know, you know what I mean? This information, just in case you didn't know. You can come down a little bit. This is interesting. I want y'all to look at the timeline. Matter of fact, make it a little bit bigger. This is between 1662 and 1807. British and the British colonial ships purchased an estimated, it says 3,415,500,000 Africans. Of this number, 2,964,800,000 survived the Middle Passage and were sold into slavery in the Americas. This is the England situation here now. The transatlantic slave trade was the largest forced migration in human history and completely changed Africa and, as it's changed Africa, the Americas, and Europe. Only Portugal/Brazil transported more Africans across the Atlantic than Britain. Until 1730s, London dominated the British trade and enslaved people. It continued to send ships to West Africa until the end of the trade in 1807. And it says, because of the sheer size of London and the scale of the port's activities, it is often forgotten that the capital was a major slaving center. Between 1699 and 1807, British and British colonial ports mounted 12,100 slaving voyages, with 3,351 setting out from London. What y'all think about that?
Well, it's not 400,000. I mean, 400 million. So, uh, but what people fail to realize is that you had the Spanish, well, who became known as the Spanish. Then you had the French, and then you had the Dutch, and then you had the British. The British was the last leg of the race dealing with the Atlantic slave trade. You know, so yeah, and then you also had Portugal. Well, the Portuguese
Where they
and
came
the
first.
Portuguese. Yeah, they went down there to South America. You know what I'm
Negro
saying? And then the
return.
Spanish, yeah, and then the Spanish and them they came here and they started taking people from the mainland in the 1500s. You know what I'm
Mm.
saying? But before that, Christopher Colon, he came in 1493 to 1495, dealing with the Spanish to take the Arawaks and the Tainos to South Africa and also to Castile, which became known as Spain at that time, and was selling niggas up there, you know.
Mm. Yeah, taking Indians and sending them up there.
Yeah.
Mm. In a manner of that though, I know people debate about this all the time, dealing with, the slave trade numbers and, how many can they calculate and everything like that. What I mean? It's there for people that want to research and look into those things. And the voyages that you said in the last leg, because of the fact that the ones that did get brought over here, people obviously are trying to find it in their genealogy. You know what I'm saying? Shout out to Open Me Out who just did a recent build for people that might be looking to find certain things in their genealogy, such as that. You know what I'm saying? And they have to go about looking for, especially it says the 1800s. Because what I keep telling people is though that when Britain goes into in the time frame they're talking about 1660 something, it's funny that it's after a certain time frame of
Hmm.
what's going on in West Africa if people just know what's happening in West Africa. You know what I mean? And Morocco and all that stuff, the French protectorate stuff and all that kicks in. You know what I mean? What dynasties took over going into the 1660s and stuff like that, and who were they already interacting with? And there's a whole bunch of stuff that goes into that. But I ain't gonna hold the room type shit. So, is there anything else anybody want to say? 90? Do you want anything you want to say about this whole numbers and British?
Nah, it's just that with a lot of them numbers, it's weird that they can give you a number, but most of the numbers that they're saying came from Africa to England
Right.
and then to America. Those are the ones that you can't really see. The Africa to England, you can see the England to America with no problem. I want to see the records that from Africa to England because you have all these so-called families, the Johnsons, a lot of families over here whose ancestors were Negro and came from England, and it's recorded to America on these ships. So I would like to see, like even saying Anthony Johnson, the one that everyone runs to as the first so-called slave owner in America, blah blah blah. Where Anthony Johnson, he comes from England on the ship James, but they call him an African in history. How did he get to England from Africa? We want those records, which is no one can really find. Just using Anthony Johnson from the 1621, that's 1619 project, that's 1621. So the numbers is weird because we have the record of him coming on what ship he came from England, but you don't have that record from Africa to England, but you want to call him an African.
That's what I keep saying. Like, this is interesting about how the narrative is going to be split into this African idealism of things. But the face of reparations here or now is tied to all this information, and obviously the Sons of Africa coming out of London, going into West Africa. You know what I'm saying? And what time frame was it when they said the Inquisition guy? You got that right? It was that. That's what I want to bring up, tied to what he said. We read some things about Equiano, and again, because face reparation, I had to make sure that people got this information about Buddy, in totality. You know what I'm saying? So before we play this clip, we're gonna just show this Inquisition thing, because the London Sons of Africa, they're dealing with abolitionism. They saw the end of it. They say the end of it. You know what I mean? And when the Pope reconciled and all that kind of stuff about the Inquisition. It's literally called the Inquisition. And in context, because of this Inquisition, 1492 is when the Inquisition starts. In the Americas, the Inquisition came over here as well. But the Inquisition ends, they're saying, in 1834. So they lift certain things that were tied to Negroes in 1834. So, matter of fact, it's right there. And it says the Inquisition was originally intended primarily to identify heretics among those who converted from Judaism and Islam to Catholicism. The regulation of the faith of newly converted Catholics was intensified following the royal decrees issued in 1492 and 1502, ordering Jews and Muslims to convert to Catholicism or die. It says Castile, reselling in hundreds of thousands of forced conversions, the persecution of conversos and Moriscos, and the mass expulsions of Jews and of Muslims from Spain. The Inquisition was abolished in 1834 during the reign of Isabella II after a period of declining influence in the preceding century. 1834.
So they abolishing that Inquisition and getting rid of it under.
Hey yo, Paul, your mic's open.
Yeah, what was
you
that?
Can hear all that.
Which is weird. It's right after Indian removal. So like you have your stronghold in America, and you take care of those situations. Oh, the Inquisition could be done, and I think that was under Pope Gregory the 16th, who did a lot of things weirdly with consolidating the papal crowns. But it's just weird that it comes right after Indian removal.
Mm-hmm. How's that even like correlated when people got it? You know what I'm saying? They consolidate. They consolidating everything. You know what I'm saying? And that's why they're doing this at this time, because of what's going on in history at this point, in 1800s. Because you know what else is getting ready to take place right after this Inquisition is lifted. Because you know, there's a lot of things starting to take place. You know what I mean? Jews start being or rocking in London, but not the black ones, not the ones that went through the Inquisition. It's another group of folks that's rocking with London after 1834, tied to things of the scrambling for Africa in certain ways and things like that. And they're not the same people that originally was being put through the Inquisition in those areas of West Africa or North Africa, dealing with 1492.
Yeah, because just like Nine Ether said, dealing with the Indian Removal Act would actually happen in 1830. That happened 4 years after, and also at the same time, this when General Andrew Jackson was made a citizen.
Mm-hmm.
Of Spain.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the same time of the American Colonization Society finally getting all their money up after, like we said, with Equiano in the 1700s. Granville Sharp, he started that, so his people is out there. But when in 1830s, when the American Colonization Society gets all its, proprietary people together to fund all those moves, they named the first town Granville. And this is the same time and area that you got Indian removal and a so-called recolonization of the west coast of Africa.
And not only that, you also had the domestic slave trade going on too in the 1800s.
There's a lot going on in it.
Uh-huh.
And all the wars, Second Seminole War, First Seminole, all
at the same time. All the stuff going on.
Whole bunch.
Right. You seeing vibrating pop. They trying to get at you while you lie. So, in a manner of that right there, I just want to, again, this is just dealing with the face of reparations and certain things tied to it, you know what I mean? The Inquisition. Because, people be arguing about, especially those today being labeled African, and some are cool with it, African American, some are not, obviously. And especially from the context that, oh, you hear me? Can you hear me?
Somebody calling while I'm on the live.
Oh my God, damn. They don't know, huh? You gonna need to text them or something. Mute your joint and text them and say we live right now. Hold on. But
I'm
you
live.
know what I mean?
Homie. Chill out. I'm live.
Yeah, chill out. So with that, you know what I mean, in the manner of what we are dealing with, we're trying to make people understand that with the timeline and everything, that it's a lot going on. You feel me in this time frame. So disbanded, and to the right where it says established November 1st, 1478, and it says disbanded July 15th, 1834. You know what I'm saying? It's giving you a nice little timeline to see when the Inquisition was in place, and when and the Inquisition is not just dealing with. So if somebody, again, that's what I was going to say. See, that your phone call threw me off too. The African part. That means in the African part of the people in West Africa who are tied themselves to religious, certain things from the time period going into the Inquisition and of the Abrahamic faiths. Those two are the ones that they're following in that way of thinking. Not saying they don't have other tribal things going on, but still they're being hit with the Inquisition based off of it. So how is it now that people today be like, well, no, we ain't got that, we ain't that, we ain't this. Well, shoot, all the lawful things that's hitting us is tied to it though. You know what I mean? If you like it or not, that's the narrative, like Equiano says, that's been laid out against us. That's what they were doing over there in London. So that's what we're doing over here. Cryptically speaking, inside those churches, like the African Methodist Church. So I just want to make sure that is what y'all think. Am I tripping? And we're gonna slide to the next thing. You know what I mean? Face
Nah,
reparations.
you're on point. You're on point.
Paul, what about you? Is he frozen?
No.
Okay.
Also, you just brought up about the Methodist Church, and the guy that actually started the Methodist Church, he was also an abolitionist, dealing with the movement of back to Africa as well. He was an abolitionist. Yeah, he was an abolitionist.
Right.
Yeah,
There
but
was
most people don't know
abolitionist
that.
movement. Yeah, that
Yeah,
abolitionist movement. You know what I mean? Most of them churches and up there in the 13 territories, Boston, Massachusetts, Philadelphia, Delaware, Virginia. Yeah, I want that. That right there is literally, you know what I'm saying? Funny enough, the African Lodge, you know what I'm saying? They were chartered out
right,
of London too.
right. And there was also um a part of establishing the HBCUs, which actually was started by Paleface and them. That actually was an Indian school first before before it became an HBCU, because it was an Indian school first. So they say kill the Indian to save the man.
Right.
So it became known as the HBCU.
So that's why, I seen this white guy. But this guy right here actually wanted to play a quick little clip. I think it went with the situation we just came out of. So, we like to show sources. I'm going to play a little quick clip of this video. Tap in with us.
But that's interesting because we talk about the curses of Deuteronomy 28 and how the Israelites would flee from country to country. The curses would follow them. And here we have a queen. We look at this situation as crazy. Nobody thinks that I'm not going to say nobody. Most people don't think that the Inquisition was a good thing. But here we have a queen saying, this is God's will that we expel you. Now, with that in mind, where they end up from here is what leads to the transatlantic slave trade. So if you believe the transatlantic slave trade is Bible prophecy, there had to be preceding events to get to that point in history. So do me a one. If you think it's a possibility that the queen could be telling the truth, that it's God's will that they were expelled from Spain and Portugal, press 1. If you don't believe it's a possibility, press 2. It's just an opinion. If you believe that she may have been telling the truth, that it was God's will, or she wasn't. I guess we.
So I want to do the same thing real quick in the chat. Let us know in the chat if you think that the queen at the time of 1478, dealing with the Inquisition, was thinking was it a God's will thing, or was it just a political thing that they were using this against these same group of people they call Negroes and Africans? And then Paul, obviously, well, you just heard right there. What you think about that?
That was political. That was
Mhm.
political.
You think
Because
they won?
now, oh, okay.
Oh, go ahead. Expand.
Because they're trying to blame that shit on God. That's fucked up. You know,
I agree.
so I can't see them using that to say that it was a prophecy by God. You know, what
It
you do
wasn't.
have some Hebrews that trying to use Deuteronomy to say, oh, we was but that didn't even have anything to do with that. So that's a whole nother story. But yeah, that was politically done. They didn't have nothing to do with God.
Respect that. 9, because there's a little bit more I want y'all to hear from this clip, and I want like y'all to give me
I would
feedback.
agree that it's governmentally and ecclesiastically political.
I'm glad you said that. Because ecclesiastically is different from a prophesized thing. Because Deuteronomy is not in the timeline of 1492. At this point, these people have already went through their exile, what this book talks about right here. Deuteronomy would be from the time frame of them getting kicked out of Babylon and stuff like that. Not in the 15th century, when now they're still following maybe their faith, but they're mixed with other groups of people. And at this point, they're doing, it's more political. It's definitely an ecclesiastical move, as Nine Ether showed, because of with the El Negro series. We know that the people that were getting kicked out of Portugal in Spain, that the Queen is dealing with these folk, were also the ones that helped them fight against the Muslims that were in those areas and kicking them out of those regions, and then turned around and stripped them people from what they and went back on their agreements that they made with certain people of that faith they called Judaism or Yahudism of that time, with their mixtures in the regions they were living in. That's why they like to use the word Moorish. You know what I'm saying? Because they had mixtures and all that shit over that time frame. So some people might not understand that, but I just wanted to point that out. You know what I'm saying?
Or they say Morano or Moreno.
Morano, right? Shout out to my Maroons out there, Morano. Feel me? Click on the joint real quick. Show a little bit more on here, and then 9, I'll let you tap in after. Unless you want to say something before I play it. Is there anything you want to say about this? You good, right? All right, go ahead.
We shall see. Then they saw that there was evil determined against them by the king, and they gave up the hope of remaining. But the time had become short, and they had to hasten their exodus from Spain. They sold their houses, their landed estates, and their cattle for very small prices to save themselves. The king did not allow them to carry silver and gold out of his country, so that they were compelled to exchange their silver and gold for merchandise of cloths and skins and other things. Ever since 1480, Jews and Gentiles were forbidden to export precious metal, the source of the nation's wealth. So basically, they traded lands for clothes and food. They didn't get actual money. So now, understand, they were stripped of actual wealth that could be used in other places. And so now they only had things that could sustain them once they fled. 120,000 of them went to Portugal, according to a compact which a prominent man, Don Vidal Bar Benevisti del Cavalaria, had made with the king of Portugal. And they paid 1 ducat for every soul. So it was 120,000 of them. They paid 1 ducat. So that's 120,000 ducats. I don't know what that, I didn't do any of the conversion math on that to see what it amounts to in US dollars at this time. If you guys want to chase that down, please feel free to share. And the fourth part of all the merchandise
So these people had, again, too, funny enough, the people, dark-skinned Moranos, were, doing pretty good for themselves in their skills. The king and the queen were telling them, they said, you and the Gentiles, we're not letting the Gentiles or the Jews, or of course not the Muslims, they just got through kicking them out through the wars, until that's who they were, fighting with. So we don't got to think about those Muslim dark-skinned folk they got beef with. But the ones that's in that region, that's been in that region, and they side against them, is these people had gold. You know what I'm saying? And they said they were not letting nobody leave their territory with gold in their hands. You know what I mean? So they said, no, what these people had to do, they had to go buy merchandise materials with the gold inside the region, and then use that to get, take it out and trade. You see what I'm saying? In other places when they left, because that's the only thing they could leave with was merchandise. They couldn't even leave with none of their wealth. You know what I'm saying? This is how they were getting out. So the man breaks it down in there. Dante 14. I think he did a good breakdown of that. He got a couple sources like how we do Cambridge University, and some things he's showing tied to the people going into West Africa and Sao Tome and Cape Verde and making their way into the Americas. Are those do y'all think that those people right there are tied to that number that homeboy Equiano and them are presenting with how many people came here? You think they are counting them people into it too? What y'all think?
Yeah,
I would say so.
So if they're counting them people in there, then they will have to count that the fact that there was some dark-skinned people in West Africa who went through an Inquisition and were through the slave trade made their way into the Americas. Then, right? Right. I mean, simple. I think.
Yeah, definitely. Those that was exposed from Europe into Africa. We know that was happening for almost 50, 60 years prior to Columbus and any movement.
Right.
Easily.
The Portuguese, they was in West Africa in 1411.
And you could argue all the way into the 1391 Jewish massacre. You could say it started then because a lot of people ran out of Portugal and Spain in that 1391, which is 100 years before 1492, 101 years.
Right.
It was showing to go everywhere in that massacre, those Jews that were being attacked.
Yep, they left in 1391. That edict.
Yes.
And then they left from there, and they went into West Africa. A lot of them, you know what I'm saying? And then the king went after them and actually wrote certain things down about, like, I want going to bring my people. Even the king was saying, look, man, your people came into our territory and married and had children with people of our nation of people, and now they're trying to leave with their families now because of what you're saying, that man that went into your area belongs to you. You know what I'm saying? And there's stuff like that happening, dealing with the slave trade situation. So there's a mixture, we know, just off of that. You know what I mean?
But you know what's funny though? That even with the book that the Nation of Islam had put out, the secret relations between the Jews and blacks, right? Because you had the Jews in them who was also the monetary funds for the slave ships and everything.
Right. So
I mean, and then they was also part of the Knights of Templars once again because that was the first bankers, So and they was the first ones to give Christopher Columbus the money to sail before Queen Isabella and King Ferdinand. So when all this is going on, it's nothing but family fighting family and enslaving family, and then they brought that shit over here.
I mean,
and they was hiding so much gold, and like you said with I'm gonna put this in. Matt, could you do me a favor? Take this out of Telegram and just put it in the chat for the people, because I just want to.
This guy will cheat, nephew.
It's basically showing how, like Chito just said, they were funding the movement, but I would say the upper echelon of the Jewry or the Yehudaism, they were trying to protect themselves. But Mac, let me share my screen 1 minute just to expound on that.
Go ahead. No pressure. He said he want to share his screen. Okay.
Present. Just to read something that makes so much sense of what Chito just said. Here we go. Christopher Columbus and the secret Jews. Okay. Tell me when you see the screen.
I see it.
Okay.
Oh, you just took it down. Hold on. He just took it down.
I took it down?
Oh, no, never mind. Kobe was showing
there you go. There you go.
We'll pull that back up after. All right.
Okay, now I just want to show you right here, Saint Angelo or Saint Angel. We're just gonna call him Louis D. Saint Angel. Was not only learned but was prosperous, though not wealthy. Watch this. In 1452, his grandson, the jurist Louis Saint Jr. Hold up. And Leonardo King, which they petitioned the King Juan of Aragon to allow them to dig for gold and silver coins and other treasures which had been buried by their parents and their grandparents. You will see that later on in this book, they show you that St. Angelo goes to Ferdinand and Isabella. Isabella says she doesn't have no gold to pawn or to procure because of the fight with the Moors. And he says, no, I have a map further of the Jewish people that was expelled. Let me dig under those houses and I can run the movement that Columbus wanted to do. And when Columbus wrote his first memoir, it wasn't even back to Ferdinand and Isabella, it was back to Saint Angel. So it went to Louis D. Saint Angel first. But this book that I'm showing now that you're going to put in the chat for me, it goes through those Jews, and it goes even back to the 1200s of the Jews funding the kings and queens of that time to make their moves, like Chito said.
Okay. Just so with that being said, then all the stuff we just talked about at the face of reparations, right? And the ones that are using this term African, they're pointing that they were hit with all the Inquisition and tied to slavery. Came over to America and mixed in with the indigenous population over here like they did when they went to Africa.
Right.
Transatlantic, right? Who's tied to the Inquisition? Who's being chased to all these areas? The Inquisition is going to all these areas, right?
Them Yehudis. Them Negro.
Those Negroes.
Conversos, Moranos.
Yeah. Now, meanwhile, we ain't gonna get, let y'all know. Matter of fact, I'm gonna want y'all to see this first, right? The Code Noir initially, as we always talk about this, took shape in Louis the 15th edict of 1685. All those subsequent decrees modified a few of the code's provisions. This first document established the main lines for policing of slavery right up to 1789. Now, funny enough, does it go down a little bit, God? Does this have it?
And look, and you know what? And they being real subtle with that because they say the Code Noir, the Black Codes, but it was actually called the Christian Black Code. So I don't know why they didn't put Christian Black Code in there because that's what it was, the Christian Black Code.
Well, that's what, right. It became that in 1723, the English called it the Black Code. But then underneath it says the very first article expels all Jews. Right after it's highlighted, this is the very first article expels all Jews from the colonies. Jews played a significant but hardly dominant role in the Dutch colonies of the Caribbean region, but were not allowed to own property or slaves in the French colonies. The edict also insisted that all slaves be instructed as Catholics and not as Protestants. For the most part, the code concentrated on defining the condition of slavery, passing the condition through the mother, not the father, and establishing harsh controls over the conduct of those enslaved. Slaves had virtually no rights, though the code did enjoy masters to take care of the sick and the old. So the Inquisition, right? Time frame,
right?
Because the edict we just read, they didn't give up. They didn't go back on their Inquisition until 1834.
Right. And the French, and it was a part of the Roman Catholic Church too. That's a part of the Holy
Right.
Morisco Roman Empire. It
Right.
was the British, the French, the Castile, the Portuguese, Austria, Germany, Poland, who else? Sweden. All of them there was a part of the Holy Morisco Holy Roman Empire.
That part, that complete part. So that's why again, when them people that we say that we know went through the Inquisition, and even the term we've used in the show before is the people that were doing the Inquisition, like the soldiers. You know what I'm saying? Conquistadors, some people might say, right? And other terms for that group of people that were fighting on behalf of the Roman Catholic Church and those crowns and those orders tied to those crowns that are fighting on their behalf. You know what I mean? One of them is, Metamoros, Santiago, Metamoros. You know what I mean? When they were dealing with the Inquisition against the Muslims. And then they did another, see, the edict against the Jews is completely just very specific. You know what I mean? But the Inquisition overall was Metamoros was dealing with the time frame of going against the Muslims that were in their area from 711 of Southern Europe, right? But then they came over here, they used the word Santiago Meta-Indios. And we've talked about this before. Now the Inquisition was brought here in 1510. They passed the Inquisition on this side, and it included the Indians who would not convert, which means the West Indies people, they were called Gentiles, First Nation people.
Right.
You see that? 500 nations they got on this book. I got this at a Seminole powwow, by the way. You feel me? Yeah, 500 nations. This, and them copper-colored different people of the 500 nations. There's a lot of different things going on when you read this book, dealing with all the different cultures they would say that were here. You know what I mean? Not all the people were doing the same things in the 15th century or in the West Indies, or what we call today the Americas. Would you guys agree before I pull up the next thing?
Yeah.
Whenever you're ready, guys.
Yeah.
All right, we're gonna move along. We gotta get to your joint, Paul. And I wanted 9 and us to have a dealing with your part. Matter of fact, I think what we got next up is matter of fact, we right on you right now. See, I kind of had this kind of time a certain way because of I just said the Seminole powwow and everything, you know what I'm saying? Shout out to Sekou, actually. He was there with me when we went, when I got this book, he was there with me. Actually. You know what I mean? And this I'm ready to go. This is your joint you sent me. You know what I mean? You can make it a little bit bigger. No? Okay, so it's small. Paul, can you see it though? Huh?
I'm waiting for it. Yeah, I see it. I see it on the screen.
Okay. Now, you sent this to me, and I wanted, you see how I just went through all that, and how people, especially dealing with the yacht Seminole, Estelusti, you see what I'm saying? And how the one drop rule and the African tribes or groups of people who understand their ties to the Inquisition and what was happening in not only Europe and West Africa and over here, but as it says, the Florida African Seminole people. Oh, you had it bigger, dog. You just took it away. Oh, okay. All right, there it is. So, boom. You know what I'm saying? Well, you want to go into this? It's on you.
Yeah, because and I like the way how you built this up. You heard me. That's how you set up your ingredients and everything to put out the whole meal. You know what I'm saying? So the people can get fed. Now, as y'all can see, you have a lot of people that want to say that they are full-blooded Indian or they're full-blooded Aboriginal, but yet if they was a part of a tribal nation, they would have known this information that we have right here. You know what I'm saying? Because now, with this is being said, when you have a lot of people that are trying to say, well, the transatlantic slave trade didn't happen. You got a lot of people that's on the internet, Vista, Instagram, TikTok, Twitter, Facebook, and wherever other social media. So for some reason, they act like being a mixture is something wrong with that. You know what I'm saying? like it never happened, you know. And before the Atlantic slave trade, it been mixing, you know what I'm saying? And after the Atlantic slave trade, it have been mixing, you know. And as you can see the tribes right there dealing with Mali. Now we all know that the Malians in them came in 1307, 1311, 1312, 1320s, you know. So when you have that and you had the griots of Mali that actually said these things, and they actually had it recorded with Abaka and Abubakari, you know what I'm saying, and Mansa Musa, right? I don't know how they can deny that. And even then, you had tribes that was on the southeast was already trading with those nations that's over there in Africa and in Europe. But people in them, they don't know because they're not inside no tribal nation where they can get this information from the elders. Now, my nephew, he printed it out all the time. You know, big up to my nephew, you know, Wale Origins. Y'all need to check him out on Instagram. He be dropping a lot of information, you know what I'm saying? So I just sit back and let my nephew do the thing. But even then, when you have people that say, oh, there was no Africans, well, just like we asked, well, how do you have a Mandinka by the name of Menendez who actually fought in the Seminole War against the doggone Spanish and the British?
That's the Lucy, you heard me?
Right. So back then, they didn't have no planes back then to transport people. You only had ships.
Yeah, Luso Africans. They still, that's the whole point. I'm glad you said that. Luso African. Yeah.
Right. So, you know, I don't know why they being in denial, but yet we know who we helped as well as our own kin folks that was doing the slave raids on the plantation. And just like you said, there was a lot of fighting going on, and that's the part of history that they don't want to talk about. Okay, well, it's just like I did the breakdown of the Roots movie. Everybody said, well, he plagiarized. Okay, cool, fine, and dandy. But look at the time that it happened in. It happened in the 1700s and it happened in the 1800s. But at the same time, they're not talking about how you had the Seminole War, or better yet, the Yamasee War in 1715. Then it went from there to the Gullah War, first and second Gullah War. And then it went from the first and second Gullah War to the first Seminole War, second Seminole War, and third Seminole War.
Right. You see how it say, that's the Lucy. It say literally Florida African Seminole people. And underneath it, it has Cimarron. You see that? Cimarron, maroon. And then it says, and Estelusti. It's right there in red underneath Florida African Seminole people. So any of the black Yap Seminole, as they will call us Estelusti, would have, per se, they say one of these, one drop at least, in our bloodline because of that slave trade situation that's in the heritage of the indigenous side, dark skin, who mixed with those folks that came over, right?
But also with that, Mac, you also had another rule that said one drop of Indian blood made you Indian.
Right.
But
I mean,
see,
that's why people playing games with that. You know, that's political. Feel me?
But see,
that's
that even come back and boomerang on the European side, because if you go back and you look at when the Moors and them ruled Europe for 700 to 800 years, they was given 100 pale European women that was virgins. So if you have 100 white virgins a year, that's over 1,000 something women that they had mixed children with. Right? So you talk about mixed blood, but yet you got everybody like from the Nation of Islam, even the Moorish Science Temple say, oh, you need to change your name. Well, hold on. Well, if the Moors and them populated and had children, and you look at their coat of arms and their crest of arms and they have Moors on there, well, who gave the Europeans their last names?
That part. You know, and say inside of this too, right? You see where it shows Songhai. Matter of fact, is something you want to say? Because before we move on from this particular slide,
Keep going. Only thing I would add is the Temne, Temne. Those are from the Koya, so-called Koya Empire of Liberia. So those are the people that the American Colonization Society was dealing with. That group of people that's right next to the Ashanti.
Matter of fact, too, inside of this, you said kingdoms, right? These are all, Coromantee or tribes too. You say tribes, right? In situations too. But there's an empire there. There's an empire there in this book right here. It talks about this Timbuktu being underneath our empire. You know what I'm saying?
Facts.
And yes, as you brought up, Mansa Musa in 1300s and them navigating the oceans coming across here, as you say, Pa. Well, after Mansa Musa did that, the Muslims did control West Africa and other regions, obviously for a nice time period. But going into the, say, 1460s, there's a Sunni Ali, you know what I'm saying? And the Sunni Ali and his dynasty take over that area and become the rulers of that empire they call Songhai, which would be in the same area that the dynasty prior to them were Muslims, and that was called the Mali Empire. See what I'm saying? So, funny enough, what's connected to Songhai is that Songhai falls in 1492.
Right.
And that's an empire that is not Muslim.
And don't they got the same flag as the Moorish Empire?
Yes.
The 5-pointed star, red.
Yeah,
green.
Originally. They're ahead of them.
Yeah.
Before North Africa, Morocco, even that's who they took it from. They took it from, remember, the Inquisition started in 1492, right? Well,
right.
The general of Sunni Ali, when Sunni Ali passed, the general took it from Sunni Ali's son, Askia Muhammad. And Askia Muhammad put out an inquisition saying that all Jews in this region must convert to become Muslims in 1492.
Or else die by the scimitar.
That part. You see what I'm saying? This is facts, right? This is not facts. Anybody can say they disagree with
it's
facts
the truth. It's the truth.
Factual.
It's the truth.
All right.
It's the truth.
All right. So
because that was the two religious parties. You had the Christian party, and you had the Islamic party, and both of those parties was fighting against one another.
Right, and the Jews in the middle of it are the ones being persecuted on both sides.
Right.
In that time frame, the Inquisition is tied to. See what I'm saying?
Right.
Funny enough, they're the ones that's being enslaved, being enforced, being persecuted, being sent places, not able to, own property. You know what I'm saying? Not able to put their hands on gold in a chartered way, clandestine at that point. I guess they might be pirates. See how Paul, this is going to line up for the pirate conversation. You see what I'm saying?
Pirates of the Caribbean, baby. You already know.
Pirates. See, I know what I'm doing. See, I'm setting this up. You feel me? No, but we can go to the next slide. The next slide is this is all you, Paul. All the things you want to. So this is the part again. So I'll let you present it. Go ahead.
All right. Now, dealing with the misinformation part, right? As y'all can see on the screen once it pop up. Because this is a very pivotal moment, because just like we were speaking earlier about how you had the Jews and the Muslims and the Christians and everything and going on. And as you can see, someone did a post and they said that America is Egypt, where one of the most of the pyramids on earth. And they say Tamari, right? The country right, Tamari, the land of the eagle, and the two lands of Atlant and Utland. Well, furthermore, What they don't understand is that they took the map of the Dutch, and that T with that hyphen that's right there, that's actually meaning the Americas. That does not mean Tamaray, y'all. And my nephew, once again, Wale Origins, he bust the dude up, who called himself Earth Speaks, because Earth Speaks was putting that false information out there. And my nephew took the red stick and brought it to him, you know what I'm saying? And you have everybody that's following these YouTubers and TikTokers with all this misinformation, because how this is going to be the first Egypt. Now, what really gets me is that you have everybody that speaks about masonry and say, oh, masonry this and masonry that, but yet y'all use the book called The Orient Masonry, page 25, to try to solidify the bullshit that you believe in, talking about that the Americas is Egypt, right? And they also use another book by Horace Butler, When Rocks Cry Out, another facetious book to say that this is Egypt. And everybody keep on talking about this is the first Egypt book. But yeah, y'all didn't even much ask the tribes that have been here for thousands of years what this landmass is called. So if this supposed to be in the upper corner where it's supposed to be Israel or Jerusalem, then well, how the fuck they was taking Jews or Yahudis in them from West Africa, but they wasn't taking them from here, from the map that y'all have up there? How? Make that make sense. Make that make sense. But everybody is following these knuckleheads. They have large followings and they're putting out misinformation. They're zooming on it. See, look, they say the central America is supposed to be Israel. Now, if anybody know the proper name of the people, right? They say ISIS. Her name was not ISIS. Her name was Aset. Okay, ISIS was the Greek name. So how you get Israel out of Aset? All right, and then y'all say Ra. It was not Ra. It was Re, R-E. And then you have the Babylonian deity El. So y'all trying to do a Masonic thing with the three heads, but it don't work like that. And then y'all said that Peru is Heru, but yet Peru was not even much Heru, because the speakers of that land didn't even say Peru. They say Baru, which is B-E-R-U. Not Peru, it's Baru. And that area, that's where you get the name dealing with the Amaru Mountain or the Ameriquis Mountain, which was a mountain range. And the Spanish and the Portuguese in them used that to name the whole continent when there was only a mountain region. But
All
once
right, so
again,
shit,
go
real
ahead.
quick though. Now, Nine, is anything, because I know you know about, people talk about this stuff. We get into these conversations all the time about ancient books and Oriental Masonry, then with America and Egypt. What's your thoughts about?
I don't even think they're reading it correctly, because when they read the whole book, the one he's speaking about, I've read it, I listened to it, I researched it.
Which book again? To make sure everybody knows which book.
Ancient Oriental Masonic, Ancient Mystic Oriental Masonry.
Okay, go ahead.
And if anything, they would come out that understanding that the people of America created a colony that became Egypt. Not America is Egypt. So they need to read the book for what it is. The book basically says the people, some certain peoples of America created a colony that later on became Egypt. And therefore, when it goes back, they run with the narrative that the two are the same or one. But it goes through each individuals in that book of the world, Hebrews, Egyptians, and says the people of America are none of them. They are the antediluvians. So they don't even read that book like Chito said. They grab one piece of the book and say, look, he just said here, the two are the same or one. One how? One in only his understanding that Egypt is a colony of America. That's it. Egypt is a colony of America, meaning some American adepts went over and created that colony thousands and thousands of years ago. That's it. But the book speaks clearly, and y'all can't even read that particular book. They need to read the book for what it says. We are the most antediluvian people, and we're none of those people. Because that's what the book says.
Well,
And also, the dude was a Rosicrucian, so hey, he would try to shit on Freemasonry, but that's a whole other thing. All right.
Okay. Bet money. You know. We want to slide to the next one because of time, and just make sure you get everything. You don't want everybody to see which one that you want to talk about. All right. Okay.
All right. Now, this was a gentleman who actually who was saying that Morocco, Indiana was the original Morocco, and that the Morocco over there in Africa is just a kingdom, and that was an offshoot, right? So it was real funny. So I had to go in that and I had to break it down. I said Morocco was a land, out in 1851, and the town was named either after Morocco or North Africa, but yet you have
In
some
North Africa.
morons. Yeah.
You wrote
Yeah.
this? This is your right? Boy, you better read your shit.
I ain't got my glasses on. Hold on, let me put my
Let
glasses
me help
on.
you out then. Let me help you out when you do that.
Hold on, let me put my glasses on because I'm blind like a
put them
bat.
on now. Yeah.
All right. Yeah, they said that, but yet you have some morons saying that this is Morocco over here because Morocco in Africa didn't come about until 1956. I said 1956 is not when Morocco came about. All right. Post-conflict phrase November 6, 1955, March the 2nd, 1956. French agreed to grant Morocco its independence on November the 5th of 1955. And the Sultan Sis Mohammed bin Youssef was restored as the Sultan. Morocco formally achieved its independence from France on March the 2nd of 1956. And this happened because Moroccan Empire in 788, it has already started. It was officially abolished in 1957. All right. Existed in 1169 years. Question. So how in the fuck can Morocco, Indiana, which was established in 1851, be older than the Morocco that been in existence for 1169 years or 1,169 years on the continent of Africa? Yo, on that bullshit hard. So right there, because they keep on saying that Morocco over there is the baby and Morocco, Indiana. Yeah.
Because this is the problem, see? This is the problem, Pop. See this book right here? This book right here, this right here book, exposes the fact that the flag that they're talking about, Morocco in the first place, that's most of the people that's on that wave, it didn't even belong to Morocco originally.
Right.
Now, Anita was just saying it. The original green star on a red flag belongs to the Songhai Empire in West Africa that fell in 1492. And it's not until
I better keep my glasses on.
The Saudi dynasty and later the Alawite dynasty that Muhammad that is mentioned in that joint you talk about right there is signing treaties with George Washington and everything in 1787. But it's still that dynasty that's actually now controlling that region is literally hosting the flag in another way. You can look them up. Now, is there anything you want to say about this before we slide to the next joint?
Indiana's not Morocco. you know, the things that people do, you got to understand these people that you can't give them no power. And for them to say that anything over here is Morocco is way out of control. And that Morocco on that side of the world is in historical records in the Almorid dynasty. It's a Spanish terminology, Marrakech or Maracos, which was the Marrakesh So they and it was also Amaru Chorus, or that meant land, country of God. Amaru or Amur, Amur, and Yakush. So that name's been attached to them in different ways, not for the whole country, but for different areas, and basically the Marrakesh area, and it's been attached to them for long ago. And nothing over here is Morocco. That's all I got to say.
Thank you, Miss Golden Reed. Thank you so much, baby. You know, yeah, we have to dissect the bullshit. You know what I'm saying? Because a lot of people is getting this misinformation and they're running this bitch like 90 going west.
Okay, so we're gonna slide to the next one. We'll slide to the next one, then. Okay, we got one more. I think we got two more. I think we got one after this.
All right, now you have Moors and them saying that over here is Morocco, and then you have people in them saying that the Mississippi River is the Nile, right? It's just they're just all over the place because when you look at it right now, the two slides that was before this, it showed where Egypt supposed to have been down there at the bottom, right? Supposed to have been in South America, right? With Jerusalem or Peru, right? Now they say that Israel is up here, not too far from where Utah is supposed to be at. And then they have Judah, right? And then also they have, Jerusalem. And then they say they have Assyria up there around the Great Lakes area. And then you have Babylon also. And then they say Mesopotamia. And then they have the Mississippi River being the Euphrates on this one. Now, at first they said that the Mississippi is supposed to be the Nile. But on this map, they say that it's the Euphrates. If you can zoom in, can you pull it up a little bit more? Where they can see where it say the Euphrates. So now when I bust their ass talking about the Mississippi is not the Nile, now they're saying that it's the Euphrates now. Can y'all see? They have it say Euphrates.
Is that supposed to be green? That little green thing right there?
Yeah, that green thing. When you zoom into it, it's gonna say Euphrates.
Oh yeah, you can't get that. I don't think we can get that. No, we ain't gonna get that close.
Well, it said Euphrates on there.
Okay.
Because it's supposed to be Mesopotamia, right? Because the Euphrates is supposed to be right there by Mesopotamia and Babylon. And they have Egypt right there between Texas, Louisiana, and Mexico. Now, why do they do this, man? Why?
So where's Timbuktu?
That's my question.
Where's Timbuktu? And then where would be the Mali Empire and the Songhai Empire? Dealing with.
And they say that's the Red Sea right there, and then they say the Egyptian Sea. But to my recollection, there was no such thing as the Egyptian Sea.
Yoda wants to speak.
Go ahead. What you got to say now?
It is not Morocco. No. Let me stop.
No, but it's crazy though. They need to phone home. They do the Star Wars something, whatever they got going on. It's not working. This ain't working. I don't know.
No, it's not.
Why are they trying to do it? Like, what is the purpose actually of flipping the maps upside down? Anyways, based off the Inquisitions and stuff that we just went through. Especially in today's time, for those who are talking about reparations and stuff and using people for faces that are tied to the whole situation that we're talking about from that side coming over here. Where did they get exiled to? Where did they get? That's what I'm trying to say. If they Babylon's here and Egypt's there and Israel's over there, like it don't even make no sense. Like this, like so. How you get exiled? The whole biblical thing gets thrown out of whack of any of the Deuteronomy stuff or anything you talk about at that point, because you're going against the historical, not even the religious side of it, but the secular ideal of history and the laws that were passed, edicts that were passed. People that got exiled from places.
Right. So
the Negro and the Indian thing. See the 500 Nation book. This one's big, heavy. Aboriginal First Nations, they say in this joint. And then the people tied to this book, who went through the Inquisition, make their way to the Americas, and boom, ethnogenesis. But either way, this is the next one, the map you want to show.
All right, show you some more bullshit. We gonna come out of the doo-doo, y'all. We coming out of the doo-doo. The doo-doo of the misinformation. All right. Now, the thing with Horace Butler in his book, when he talk about Jerusalem is being in South America, being Peru, right? Well, I found a map that's actually dealing with the Church of Latter-day Saints of the Mormons, because that's where he got that from, right? And y'all probably never seen this map before, so I'm bringing it to y'all attention, right? So when you stroll down right there, bring it over a little bit more. There we go. All right, bring it down some. Bring it down some. Bring the map down a little bit.
A little bit more?
Yeah, bring it down some, because I wanted to see both of the red circles.
Oh no, you off the map now, red. So okay, yeah, we see
right there, right there. There we go. There we go. There we go. All right. See, I had to put my name on there because motherfuckers like to steal the ideas like they was the ones that put it out there. No, you bitch, you gonna give me my fucking credit. You'll give me my fucking credit. Nigga stole my shit and did a post on it. Fuck that. Nigga didn't know nothing about this. All right. Now, as you can see, the one that's at the bottom left, right there, that's Jerusalem. That's supposed to be right there where Peru is, right? But it's a problem. It's a problem because when you go up to the upper right-hand corner, there's another Jerusalem.
Right.
That's another Jerusalem. Can you zoom? I know you can zoom in on that one. You can see it. Bring it in a little bit closer for the people to see it. See, they done fucked up. I say I had an ace in the hole.
Zoom a little bit more. It's the biggest it's gonna get. It's the biggest we're gonna get.
That's the big. All right. You can see there's a Jerusalem right there.
I see it though. I see it clearly.
Yeah, you got two Jerusalems. So to my Hebrew partner that said that he beat me in a battle, nah, we was building that night, son. There wasn't no debate, but since you said that, I'm in essence, yeah, I call your name, partner. But dealing with that, right? Let me show you something. You talk about how all this is supposed to be Hebrew and all that. Nah, talking about how Moses is supposed to be a Mayan. Nah, because here it is right here. I'm gonna show you something. Dealing from the book of Nephi, the first book of Nephi, chapter 18, and it goes on to say, y'all can't see it, but I'm gonna read it, right? They say, and it came to pass that in the day of the worship of the Lord, it did go forth with me, and we did work the timber, of course, the workmanship, and the Lord did show me from time to time, after which the manner I should work on the timber of the ship. And now I, Nephi, did not work the timber after the manner which was learned by men, neither did I build the ship after the manner of men, but I did build it after the manner which the Lord had shown unto me. Wherefore, it was not after the manner of men. And I, Nephi, did go into the mountain of Orph, and I did pray and offer unto the Lord. Wherefore, the Lord showed unto me a great thing, and it came to pass that after I had finished the ship, according to the word of the Lord, my brethren beheld that it was good, and the workmanship therefore was exceedingly fine. Wherefore they did humble themselves again before the Lord. Okay, and it said, and it came to pass that the voice of the Lord came unto me, unto my father, and we should arise and go down into the ship. And it came to pass that on the morrow, after which had prepared all things, much fruit and meat from the wilderness, and honey in abundance, in the provision according to which the Lord had commanded us, we did go down into the ship, and we all loaded our seas and whatever things they had brought with us, everyone according to his age. Wherefore we did go down into the ship with our wives and our children. Verse 7, and now my father had begotten 2 sons in the wilderness, and the elder was Jacob, and the younger one was Joseph. And it came to pass after we all had gone down into the ship, and it had taken our previous things with us as been commanded of us. We did put forth the sea and driven before the winds towards the promised land. What was the promised land? The promised land was known as the Americas. So they're coming from Jerusalem. At this time, the reason why they flee Jerusalem, which was Israel over there, because the book of 2 Kings spoke about how the Babylonians went to destroy Israel. So you had these people like Nephi and them, they actually fled and came this way, which was 3,000 years ago. And they landed in the Americas. So you didn't have no Hebrews here at that time until they left Israel before being in bondage to the Babylonians. And that's in 2 Kings, in the book of 2 Kings. That was dealing with the Babylonians, dealing with the Exodus. So it goes on to say that to the promised land. And they say, and after we was driven forth before the winds in the space of many days, behold, my brethren and the sons of Ishmael also their wives began to make themselves merry, and so much that it began to dance and sing and to speak much rudeness. And yet, even that they had forgot by which was the power had been brought thither. Yet there was lifted up exceedingly in rudeness, and I, Nephi, began to exceedingly less of the Lord should be angry with us and smite us because of our iniquity, and it should be swallowed up. All right, TD Jakes, and in the depths of the sea. Wherefore I, Nephi, began to speak to them with much soberness, and behold, that they were angry with me, and saying that we will not, that of our younger brothers shall be ruled over us. And it came to pass that Leman and Lemu did take and bind me with cords, and they did threaten me with much harshness. And nevertheless, the Lord did suffer it that he might show forth his power, and until the full of his word, which he has spoken concerning the wicked. And it came to pass after they had bound me in so much that I could not move. The compass which had been prepared by the Lord did cease to work, and wherefore they knew not or whether they should steer the ship. And so much that there arose a great storm, and yet a great and terrible tempest was also driven back upon the waters in the space of the 3 days. And they began to frighten exceedingly, and lest it should be drowned in the sea. Nevertheless, they did lose not me. And they say in the 4th day, which we had been drunken back to the tempest, and began exceedingly sober. All right. Or sore. And it said, it came to pass to where about being swallowed up in the dead of the sea. And after that, we had been drunken, driven back upon the waters in the space of the 4 days. And my brethren began to see that the judgment of the God were upon them, and they had must perish and saved that was to repent for their iniquities. And wherefore that they had came unto me to loosen the bands and upon my wrist. And behold, they had so exceedingly, and that my ankles was much swollen, and the great of the soreness therefore. And they said, nevertheless, I did look unto my God, and I did praise him all day long, and the murder against the Lord became my affliction. So it goes on to say how they actually came over here during the time when he was fleeing from Babylon. And that's why they wind up calling this the promised land, because on the first Nephi, the 18th chapter in the 23rd verse, it goes on to say, and it came to pass that we had sailed the space for many days, and we arrived in the promised land, and we went forth upon the land and did pitch our tents, and we did call it the promised land. And that's on the 23rd verse. So that's when the Israelites and them came over here at that time when they were fleeing from Babylon.
Matter of fact, see, 'cause they didn't just stop in Timbuktu. Now, Anita, what you think about that? That's all. I'm glad you're here for the panel discussion for this part of it too. What you think about what he just said?
I think it falls in line with it because we know in the Book of Mormon they talk about Zedekiah's son Mulek being the Amalekites, and
Right.
basically that's why I say when people say this is Jerusalem, this is Hebrew, you have to look at the waves of the people coming here. All right, you have
Bingo.
You have to look at that wave that he said with the Exilarchs and the Babylonian thing. You have to look at the next wave that's coming in 100. So you got to look at the 700 wave with Kalalus of them coming to Utah. So then you will understand why the Mormons went to Utah later on, those that came over here. So if you knew, there was a Roman Jewish colony that was permitted to stay here in the 700s through A. Marie Theodoric, who Tecumseh, you and others have shown. You have to look at those waves of those peoples coming. And then, like I said, in the 1200s, you had Maddox coming. You had Leif Erikson, all these people. It's just that the colonial education that we have, they made it seem as if nothing was happening on this side of the world and these people never came. So to say that this is those lands, no, you have to understand the migration of those type of peoples into this land in different time frames. And if you want to put anything in that book, This Land, you might as well say Peru is over. Go deal with where the great gold came from. Then I'm gonna be on your side to say it was the hidden city of Ophir. But other than that, you got to know the migrations.
And that's why, like you said, now Ether, because it's like this. If this supposed to been Egypt or Jerusalem, then it's like this. Well, when there was Exodus out of Egypt, right, and y'all was in the wilderness for 40 years, right, which is 4 decades. But yet y'all was starving in the wilderness because y'all need to get manna from heaven and ran down on you. But if Moses supposed to have been a Mayan, why the fuck y'all wasn't growing corn to eat? Y'all didn't have to wait for no fucking manna to be rained from heaven. Something don't sound right here.
It don't sound right at all.
Something don't sound right here.
It don't.
And I'm saying this shit in love.
No, facts. And they need to look at that and come to the conclusion that while you have certain situations where, this book or the Backcrete stone or this stone or that stone, you have to understand that there was travel back and forth for thousands of years. And then all of a sudden you get these colonial education that tells us, no, everything over here was butt naked and nothing happening and anything else that you would find. But then this is why you have people like James Adair coming here in the 1700s and saying some of those customs of these people resemble
those tribes.
Yeah. They resemble certain things because they don't know and understand that. But he said what? That could be the remnant of those that came. He said it's the remnant of the 12 tribes. He didn't say they are the 12 tribes. He said no, that could be a remnant. Why? Because they understand who was coming in. And like Chito said, it was the promised land, the land of promise.
And it was refuge. You're taking refuge.
Refuge.
Right. Because Jerusalem was being destroyed. Jerusalem was being destroyed by Nebuchadnezzar.
Look at this crazy. This one. Share this with y'all.
Nebuchadnezzar.
This is right here is a picture of James Fort built in the period of, as you see where it says May
1607.
1607.
Uh-huh.
It's inside the 500 Nations book. And it's talking about that little small fort amongst all the Aboriginal people. You know what I'm saying?
Right, Miss Golden. Right. It's not Madden. That's right.
You know, the way things have been presented, you know what I'm saying? Just to let you know certain interesting things they have here. I'm trying to find one more thing too. That, you know, this is DeSoto. Shout out, we was on Twitter the other day, and the dude by the name last motherfucker left. That's how I would like to call him. You trying to get him on here because he was talking about DeSoto. He's done a whole series about him. So shout out to him for that. But this is tied to the how them areas were being built when DeSoto came, compared to that fort. Now the fort, they say 1607. DeSoto ran up on some stuff built like this when he came, and bigger. You know what I'm saying? Because literally right underneath this picture, just to let you know, we're gonna slide out of here. It says DeSoto and his men encountered remnants of the great Mississippian cultures that had flourished in the Southeast for hundreds of years. Many still consisted of politically and religiously centralized chiefdoms ruled by priests, nobles, and paramount chiefs. The long structure in the center of this debris engraving of the Timucuan town in Florida was a town hall, a state house for the chief and his counselors, and served also for ceremonies and community meetings. It was surrounded by the dwelling of the villages and by the palisade for protection from enemies. Let's do that picture in this joint. Timucua, you heard me? Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Chiefdoms. Chiefdoms, plural now. You feel me? First contact. Spanish, as they say, DeSoto was coming, right? Portuguese are already over here too, right? They're running up on empires and remnants of culture, especially in North America. Appalachia, you know what I'm saying? Appalachia, you know what I'm saying? They're running up on a certain culture, what you say, when we get out of here, with the mounds and the chiefdoms and everything going on. These people were living early in a civilized way. They had nobles at this point there. They got counselors. They got priests. You know what I mean? It's not just some savage situation. These people are structured.
Yeah, we had townships.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, we had towns. Yeah.
Right. So we weren't living in teepees on the east of the Mississippi. We were in chiefdoms, townships, like you just said. You know what I mean? A tower. You know what I mean? A system, a tower. So it's I'm gonna leave it there though. Anything y'all want to say before we slide? And I appreciate y'all for this.
Man, you know I always like putting up.
Right? You know what I mean?
You know.
Go ahead though. Yeah.
And like I say, I had to bust all this up in love, so you know they don't need to take it personal.
It's just history. It's just history.
It's just history. Because I mean, it's in your Torah, in your Bible. You know, they say they had to wait for manna to fall down 40 years every day. Every day they was eating manna. Why you had to wait for God to feed your ass if you supposed to have been a Mayan dealing with corn, dealing with Sarah? That's supposed to be the corn goddess. You supposed to have corn, eating corn and shit. You know what I'm saying? So something ain't matching with me, bruh. And I'm just saying that from indigenous perspective, because I know when we had corn, we ate good. We had cornbread, you know what I'm saying? We had fucking tortillas, you know, we ain't had to wait for no fucking manna come from out no fucking sky. You know what I'm saying? You know, talking about you gotta eat it before daybreak or else it's go mold. You know what I'm saying? No, man, make that flatbread, that tortilla shit, man. So now you gonna try to say they did have that. You're damn lie, because your Bible ain't say that, and your Torah ain't say that either. So that's what I'm talking about.
But you know, hey, and maybe because people might be mixing the dope because they don't realize that they mixed in the first place. So
man, look, they gotta have that pure.
You know what I mean?
They gotta have that pure cocaine, not that fentanyl shit, bro. They gotta have that pure cocaine, and that comes from South America. I already said that on the previous show about how we had the cocaine.
Right. I mean, it's crazy. It's crazy to me. It's crazy to me. No, but no, real talk, man. I appreciate y'all both for coming on. Actually, I think we got what was next that we had, Cole? Before we get out of here, don't we have a clip kind of tied to? I think it was that white dude. I'm sure that white dude, he was saying some shit. You know what I'm saying? This is what they got coming out these days. What people saying? Is that the one? I think that's the one. Yeah, let me see that one real quick. I want to make sure I play that because it's tied to the whole discussion of, like you said, folks coming out of a region, coming into a region, and like you said, Torah and what these people saying, and books like this guy right here, I think he saying some things. I was supposed to play it early, but I wanted to get to what we were talking about. So we're in on that joint, and we're gonna give you that Maroon J. You dig? We're gonna slide on y'all until next week Sunday. Oh, for the equinox, you know what I mean? Maroonville. That's the new New Year. It's our New Year. So, we coming in to the equinox, you know what I'm saying, next weekend.
Man, I can't wait for the
Y'all can
Pirates of
pull
the
up on us.
Caribbean. I
Yeah,
can't
we're
wait for
gonna
the
get
Pirates of the
into it.
Caribbean.
Yeah, we're gonna get into it. That's why I said I had to do the alley-oop. You see what I'm saying? Throw it up. Sean Kemp. You heard me? Yeah. Now I need to say anything you want to say before I play this joint?
Use the force.
Shut up. Coke is not a thing yet. Pull it up. Use the force. Let the force be with you.
May the force be with you. Pull it up, baby.
The Jedi Knights, you heard me? Order sent to y'all.
Call me the Sith Lord, you heard me? Call me the
With the
Call
red
me the
stick.
Sith Lord. Yeah.
With the red stick, ain't it?
Call me the Sith Lord.
Let's play this clip real quick. Listen to this white guy right here.
Or Zephaniah, a Negro Israelite, a son of Cush. Zephaniah means Yahweh hides. Now, Zephaniah's father was named Cushi, and Cushi, as an adjective, that means black. In both Hebrew, it means black, and in Greek, it means black. Now, Cushi is an affectionate term for a Negro of Ethiopian origin, derived from the biblical land of Cush. And it is an area that was alongside the Niger River. And if you actually look at ancient maps in 1736 and ancient maps in 1747 of Africa, you'll find a country called Negro Land and the Kingdom of Judah. This is of utmost importance for us to understand how Yahweh is gathering the 12 tribes that are scattered abroad. Because what actually happened is in this Gulf of Guinea in Western Africa, European slave ship holders, they were Ashkenazi slavers. They were of European origin. They were Western Mongols that infiltrated Britain and mainly Portugal. They were the Ashkenazi slavers. They were wealthy merchant slavers that went down to the coast of Guinea. They employed Mohammedan trappers, Islamics, to go into the King Judah and Negro land and take the royal house of captive in slave ships, as it's recorded in the book of Deuteronomy, and bring them over to America, and they became known today as what? African Americans.
But you can stop there. So yeah, I think it was interesting that, we gonna I just want to try to tell me about that before we get out of here. You see how homeboy brought up the Deuteronomy thing, dealing with the curse, that Isabella dealing with the Inquisition, and how he says that the people tied to African Americans are of that same people that got kicked out of these areas that come from over there.
Keep mixing the dope, and they should say that many of the African Americans have a percentage of that bloodline over here, instead of saying they are those people, because they're mixing up the vibrations. And he even saying the Khazars is the one that sent them in to do that, which was the how did he say? He says Eastern Mongols. And they came from the Kagnet, but they are not. They're a mixture of people, and they didn't really have any power until the 1700s. So the 1500s power is not running right. He should put it with the popes and the kings and the queens and the Sephardic Jews, not the Khazari Jews.
Yeah, you see how he had to put that in there. I was because people, he's trying to start some he's trying to start some shit. And you gotta catch the white. Hey, you gotta catch these white folks. They be throwing shit out there too now. I had my own thing I wanted to dispel was a misinformation. See what I mean? I threw that in there like, look what a white dude coming around saying now. You know what I'm saying? Now they want to tell us, oh, y'all African Americans, y'all the Jews, right? But in totality, right? You know what I'm saying? Y'all went through this. Y'all the ones that got. Wait a second. Is y'all saying we him or y'all saying we shim? All that good stuff. However, the Negro, right? The Negro and the Indian situation in America the mulatto. I think we talked about that. The mulatto, blackamoor, Negro mixing with the Indian, and the fact that people in this 500 Nations book, I'm gonna show one more time for the night. It's showing a lot of dark skinned folk, right? You see that, right? Clearly, y'all see that? How they look to y'all?
Facts.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. So these folk also being labeled Negro de Terra, right, for being on this landmass when the Spanish, who already understand the Negro when they came across the blackamoor, the Negro, the Swarthy, you know what I'm saying? People being Inquisition again. See, tied to this lawful shit. You know what I mean?
Right.
Lawful shit. So I just want to put that out there before we slide for the night. I appreciate y'all both once again for pulling up. We're gonna give you that, you know what I mean? Part of my autonomy, you know what I'm saying? And we're gonna slide on y'all. Appreciate y'all. Till next week, Sunday. Peace.
Peace. Peace.
Maroon J, you got another one.
This could take quite a bit of time.
Pardon my autonomy. I know one day they'll honor me. This ain't pertaining to 28 Deuteronomy. Self-determination, controlling our situation. Ain't no more indoctrination from pale faces. How the fuck you bummy and broke but a pair of races? My lineage free people of color with a left make each nigga. This right here maroon, now it ain't burgundy. If you plotting murder, I'm certain that you'll need surgery. Hurt from when the burner squeeze. Protecting tribe business. Only consulting with governments tried to tribe with it. Please don't confuse us with those considered native. Semi-autonomy never was in our nature. Just address me as Esther Lucy. Wild Indian status and Cherokees riding Ruchis. In my war bonnet, if you want it, bring it to your region. And black force is the same color the European. Pardon my autonomy. I know one day they'll honor me. This ain't pertaining to 28 Deuteronomy. Self-determination, controlling our situation. Ain't no more indoctrination from pale faces.
Aborigines, which means what? Black folk. You never find a white aborigine. Aborigines are called natives, or they're always dark-skinned people. You and I are aborigines, but you don't like to be called an aborigine.